This is so long overdue. If I manage to popularize S&D Stream by making a tutorial out of it and showing everyone that it's not as bad as they think, surely I can do the same with ASM. Or if that doesn't work, maybe C. I'm not comfortable enough with importing C to make a tutorial out of it, but I can make a tutorial for ASM. I've been practicing a lot for my own hack, which you'll likely see sometime next year. So, ASM. What do we need for it? Well, to get things started, you'll probably have a template. I'm just gonna make it real quick. So I have the template all set up. You can find it down in the description. First things first, let me tell you about the commands you see here right now on the screen. These three. I'll be honest, I don't know what they do, but they are absolutely necessary. I believe they let the game know to read this in ARM, or ASM, or whatever. These are labels. They make ASM more readable. So if you define a label, tell the system what the label is called and what it should be replaced with. So we see .org this, but the system sees this because we have the define label. If we don't have this here, it crashes, or rather the file isn't accepted. .create. This is exclusively for moves, as well as .close. If you try to use this for patches, it will do literally nothing because it tries to create a file when one isn't necessary. .org is basically our hook. I should go in more depth. Basically, it's the point in the base game where this code gets put in. .area, max size. Typically, you would replace your max size with 4 times your line of code. So in my case, it would be 4 times 6, 24, and then put that into hex. But for moves, we can just use this, frankly, massive number. You will never need to worry about it if you're using this template, but if you want to do some patch shenanigans, then you will need to worry about this, because it should be exact. Again, here you don't need to worry about it. So, with that out of the way, I've explained the template. What does any of that have to do with ASM I'm about to teach you? Frankly, nothing. Leave that in for the nerds, I guess. So we have a move effect. I'm gonna do a little bit of explaining before I actually start doing things. The whole crux of ASM, or rather for patching, is putting the registers in the right place. If you've opened up an ASM file before, you'll notice, frankly, a bunch of nonsense. Like, you'll notice all this. This is a move I have made. Like MOV R0 number 2, MOV R1 R5, BL add item to bag. What does any of that mean? I'll go through what it means. First thing you'll notice is sub SPSP0x4. If I'm not mistaken, then this allocates memory. The registers are basically data holders. You can put data into them, copy them into other registers, and other things like that. You'll notice up here, we already have some data. So register 4, or R4, holds our target for the move. R6 holds our move ID, and so on. So we just put the right registers in the right places and call the right functions to create a move effect. I don't expect you guys to know what I mean by that, but just by me telling you, so let me go through an example. Let's say I wanted to make a move that poisoned the user. Sounds simple, because it is. I would open up PMDSky debug, link in the description, hit Control F, and search poison. This is the name, this is the address, and this is what it does, and the input. Tries to inflict 10 damage and then poisons them. That's not what I want. I just want poison. Monster has non-volatile, non-sleep status. Checks if it nope. Cures the target's burn, but nope. Applies it nope. Aha! Try inflict poison status. Inflicts the poison status condition on a target monster if possible. So we use .define label. We can frankly call this whatever we want, but it's easier to just take it from here. Then you'll notice the address. Because I'm using an NA ROM, we grab this value and put it in here. Great, we now have a new label. So this is what we want to put in our registers. And how we put the data from one register into another using the MOV command. So R0 needs to be the user. Scroll up here. Currently, R9 is the user. So use our trusty little mov command to copy data from R9 into R0. It may get a little confusing, but the destination comes first, and then it's the target you're copying from. This will take data from R9 and put it in R0. This will not impact the data stored in R9 whatsoever. R9 remains unchanged after this command. And then for R1, we get the target. So mov, our target is R4, as seen up here. mov R1, R4. Then R2 appears to be the flag to log a message on failure. Do we want a message to display in the log if we fail? I think so. But wait, we don't have a flag in here. So what do we do? Well, we can also just put actual numbers in there. This will take the number 1 and put it into R2. Simple as that. R3, flag to only perform the check for inflicting without actually inflicting. Well, we kind of want to inflict the status, so let's not do that. All right. So our registers are in the right place. Now, how do we call try inflict poison status? With the BL command. If I'm not mistaken, BL stands for branch link. It stores the location that jumped to it and returns to that point once it's told to, or in our case, once the effect is over. So we want to branch link to the place where we just filled out the arguments for try inflict poison status. I said I wanted to make a move that poisoned the user, which is an easy fix. You can just change this to R9 as well. The user and the target in this case can be the same. That's the very basics of ASM, but let's go a little further. Let's try a move that can actually deal damage. So we trusting up PMD Sky Debug, and we look for damage. I'm just going to save you the time of looking through 149 instances of damage and tell you that the function we want is deal damage. And you'll notice there's a thing down here, item ID, and it's also a stack. So what does that mean? This, my friends, is the point of this command. SP is our stack. Let's have the poison come second, because out of experience, if you try to inflict poison on something and it fails, so does the rest of the move effect, because programming. So let's take a look at this. Attacker, defender, move, damage multiplier, blah blah blah. Should be simple. R0 is our attacker, which is the same as our user. R1 is our defender, which is the same as our target. Move data goes in R2. Well, we have move data right here. Let's put that in. And then R3 is damage multiplier. Inside of deal damage, R3 here is divided by 255. Or, in other words, 0x100. If you want it to have more or less power, base it around 255 or 0x100. So then, what about the stack? This is where the next part of our lesson comes in, the str command. So we want the item ID to be put into, and to do that, we use the str command. Now, we very fortunately have the ID of the item that called the move right here in R7. So let's store R7 into our stack. It is the stack, and it is the 0th, if that's even a word, a place in the stack. Our stack is SP, and its offset is 0. And that's what it means. We have now successfully put R7 in our stack at 0. So now we can branch link to deal damage. I should also define the label before I forget and feel stupid. Again, I'm using an NA ROM, so if you're using an EU one, use the EU offsets. I will add EU offsets for these two as well in the comments. Let's move on to the third and final part of the effect that I wanted to cover. How about, instead of just outright poisoning the user, it only had a chance to. Let's see how that works. Chance. So I'm just going to save you a bit of trouble and tell you that this is the command that we want. Dungeon rand outcome user action. Let us define that label, and I'll go over what it does in a second. Like dungeon rand outcome, but specifically for user actions. It shouldn't be too hard to figure out what that does. Basically, it's just a random outcome. So R0 is simply an entity. We don't have user, target, attacker, defender to go off of. And then R1 is our base success chance percentage, so 100 times P. 0 is treated specially and guarantees success. So let's try 1 in 4. 1 in 4 chance to poison the user. So what goes in entity? Well, I suppose we could try the user, as that's the one we're trying to poison anyways. And then the base success percentage, 100 times P. That would be 25%. Just put 25 in there. And then, yeah, we can just branch there. Branch link. Dungeon random outcome user action. I typed LB, I'm very smart. So right now we have a result. This is generating a number, but we're not really doing anything with it. So how about we do something with it? We want to check what this returns, because it returns true if the check passed and false otherwise. So it passes 1 if it's true and 0 for false. So how can we check if R0 is 1 with the CMP command? CMP stands for compare, and what it does is it takes two values and compares them. For example, R0 and the number 1. If it is equal to R0, we want to do this. Or in other words, if it is not R0, we want to skip all this. You can do it either way. The best way to do it is with branch. Not branch link, just branch. And where you need to add a suffix to it. So branch EQ for branch if equal to. NE for not equal. LE for less than or equal to. GT for greater than. GE and LT exist as well, but I'm sure you can figure out what those do. So if it is not equal to 1, we branch to return. We don't need to define label up here because this is our current label. So now we have a move that deals damage to the target and has a 1 in 4 chance to poison the user. I believe I said that was the final part of the move that I wanted to cover, so I guess this will have to do. I've showed you the basics of how to make custom moves in your ASM, and you'll notice that once you actually understand the commands and break it down, you can figure out a whole lot. If this gets enough support, I might show you guys how to make your own patches also with ASM. Though if I can learn how to import C that isn't an actual 10-page document, which also involves downloading like 10 billion things, then sure, I can do a C tutorial. Though I suppose there's still a missing step, isn't there? You need to learn how to import these, don't you? So we have our move saved as tutorial move 2.asm. I already have SkyTemple opened up. Patches, ASM, move effects. These are all the moves in the game and all their effects. If I remember correctly, 411 is the first truly open slot. So you want to go to effects code, add a new one, import code, this one. ARM parameter failure at line 29. I believe I forgot my comma. Seems I did forget my comma. And just like with special processes, you can tell that because of the star here, that the move imported. Really do wish they let you know that. With like successfully imported the move pop-up. Move 411, we make it our new ID of 329. 329. Then we go to moves and we 411. Of course we make it poison type. It's a physical move. Enemies in front. Enemies in front. Taunted. Yeah, looks about good to me. That goes over importing it, and if you want to add an animation, that is list animations move, and then you scroll down to your move ID, which is 411, and you do stuff. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to yell at me if you guys want something for patches, even though they're mostly the same. Right. Items, items follow mostly the same format. I believe those should be down in the description as well. So yeah, I'll be seeing you guys later. Talk to you next time. Gleck out.